Hello everyone. The final video that I will be making today involves a film that I feel is sort of overlooked, and this is called Places in the Heart. It is, I think, one of Sally Field's more earlier works. I'm trying to remember exactly when it was made, but I believe it was probably I want to say maybe within like the 80s or so. Malkovich is also in this film, and I believe he's also fairly young, so it's kind of a ways back. But basically, Places in the Heart follows Sally Fields' character named Edna Spading, and basically she ends up becoming a widow early on in the film, and there's this big issue because this place takes place around like the Depression era, and she and her husband had a mortgage, and he was the one who was generating the income, and now she has to take that income on herself because he's no longer alive, and the bank sort of comes to her house and tells her, hey, look, you need to find a means to support yourself, otherwise you can't keep this house. So she kind of tries to do whatever she can to support herself and her family, and that's sort of kind of the plot, and it's about trying to generate as much money as she can so that she can make those payments. So it sets itself up in a very simple way, and it does set itself up in a simple story. But the acting and the, I think, overall execution of the story really is powerful, in the sense of how you have this struggle and how Sally Field's character that sort of rises above everything, and she also gets help from a man named Mose, who's played by Danny Glover, and he kind of helps her out, and you'll see how there's sort of like these racial things going on within this time period, and I kind of liked how it wasn't trying to paint different cultural and ethnic backgrounds in a black and white sort of picture. I liked how it felt more real with how it handled these kinds of race issues. So I think that really worked to the film's advantage, and I liked how a lot of the times it was focused on trying to absorb you into sort of the time period, and I think it does a good job of doing that by making you feel like that these people were going through a lot of hard work and a lot of intensive labor in order to ultimately get something that was required of them and needed. So it's a very powerful film in that sense, by trying to encapsulate those early American kind of values that we had, and how sort of Sally Fields' character is turned completely upside down from where she was in the beginning of the film, and how she sort of has to take the reins, and it's a simple enough of a movie, and I feel like it is one of those ones that's overlooked. However, there is this kind of subplot between these lovers. One, I think, is Sally Fields' sister and some other guy who's from the neighborhood, and they're both her sister and her lover are married, so this makes it even more complicated, I guess. So Um, it is kind of strange in that sense, and it doesn't seem, well, actually I think the sister, actually no, I don't think the sister has a lover, excuse me. It's her husband that does, I guess. So there's that kind of subplot, and I almost feel that that subplot might not be as necessary or as engaging as the other major plot that is Sally Fields' plot, because because the characters, at least I feel, are really unlikable and not really the most engaging of characters, and they're just all bitter to one another and they're not happy, and it's kind of like a bitter subplot that I feel didn't really need to be there almost, but it was there, hence. But at the same time, I still really enjoyed the film because of the major plot and the main focus, which is Sally Fields' character and her sort of struggle with trying to find a means to support herself, and having various people help her sort of along the way, and her overcoming certain struggles, and her being able to kind of find a purpose for herself and for her family. So I think that's really the heart of the film. It's just that there's just this other subplot that just takes up some time of the film, and maybe some people might roll their eyes if they go to that subplot. I wasn't completely rolling my eyes, but I was kind of going, oh yeah, I can probably see where this is going. This is not going to lead to anything. And yep, I was right. That subplot didn't really lead to nothing. So I think that might be some issue that people may have with the film, but I think overall it's still well executed, well acted. The atmosphere, I think, that the film creates is a good one, and is reflective of the time period, and you come across a bunch of interesting characters too, like George Malkovich's character, and there's also her children that Sally Field has, and there's a lot of things that surround Sally Field's character. So I feel like those were really important to the story, and I think that's really what makes the story to me personally. But as far as anything else is concerned, I really can't say all that much more, because it's pretty straightforward in what it's trying to say. There's no points where it completely detours away and tries to get super duper complex. It's rather simple, but what it's saying can be really, I think, powerful by the way it's executed. And I think that overall the final product for this movie, I think, works. But it may not work for some people. It is maybe a little bit more slower, and there is a focus more on this kind of a setup of somebody having to achieve something unexpectedly because of something happening. So you can take that plot for what it's worth, but I think that it overall does what a film like this should do. But I think that's really all I can say about it. If there are any questions, comments, concerns, more than happy to answer them. This will be my last underrated film review for a while. I haven't decided actually what I plan to do for the next segments of videos that I'll be making. I have to kind of think it over a little bit and kind of see what I want to do, because we are really at the end. This is really, I really feel like I've done all I could do with these kinds of videos. Some segments I feel like I could do more on, like what I would have done, I think this segment too, even underrated films and all these other things can be explored more. I just feel like that I probably need some time to figure out exactly how I want to span it out, because life is going to be different for me when I get out of college, and that I won't have this big break. I'll probably be working, so it'll probably depend on when I can upload things and when I can take the time to do things. So I have to kind of plan out a schedule of how I want to do it, and I'm not exactly sure at this point how I want to do it. But I'll try to see if I can explain that in my last random video talk Sunday. But I think that's really all I can say ultimately in regards to my channel right now. But if there are any questions, comments, concerns, more than happy to answer them. But I think that's really all I can say in Places of the Heart. It's really straightforward. But yeah. But until Sunday, everybody,